Yo! I just pulled out a treat for the dogs and it went flying across my side. Like, oh my God, what happened? Hello, 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 guys. I hope y'all are doing good right now. And it is Aloha Friday and we are back to, oh, you don't want a whole one. You don't want a whole one. Uh-huh, exactly. It's like, no, I'm a spoiled little puppy and I expect everything to be broken into teeny, teeny, tiny pieces for her. Oh, no, you don't want that either. Okay, come jump over with me. So, aloha and welcome, gang. We are here and it is time to kick off Aloha Friday. Got ourselves our little end of the week mental health subject before we move on from there into Cantina. Don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for Cantina right now. Definitely ready for Cantina. It has been a wild week right now. I mean, completely news after news after news, and almost all of it has been amazing news. And but before we get into there, I just noticed Miss Princess Megan is here in chat, my dear. Love you, mwah. Love you, and welcome, my dear. And yes, we are Friday, but yeah, guys. First of all, okay, T is in prison. Hopefully we will never see her. Well, if I know her, she'll probably fight things and all that. So we'll probably see her again. But in the meantime, we're going to enjoy it. So she is out of there. Okay. And justice for Gannon after all this time. Justice for Gannon. And I'm just like, oh, that is just amazing. Hey, Georgia, Peach, how you doing, Georgia? How you doing, my dear? And welcome. Yeah, it's just been tons of good news after good news. For those of you who have not seen, I did not go live because I had this in Cantina to get ready for today. But for those of you who have not heard, Lachelle, the girl that Sleuth and I talked about on Wednesday, and we did the pop-up live yesterday about Lachelle, she was found. Guys, she's okay. She's alive. She's okay. I don't know about you guys, but when I was following Lachelle's case, I was so worried. I was telling a couple other people privately, I was so worried the whole time. I always talk, there's hope. There is hope until the moment we are told there's no hope. And there was. Okay, late last night, she is, thank you, excuse me, Al. Love you, mwah, love you. And yep, Jamie is live over on Twitch. In fact, I was kind of listening in the background as I was trying to get ready for things. So, but yeah, Lachelle, actually, this is the girl who went missing right before she was due to testify. She walked into a gas station late last night. She was definitely having a hard time walking, disheveled, blood or burns on her clothing and all that, but she is okay. And I think many of us really were worried that whoever had grabbed her had hurt her badly. Okay, as in killed her. But no. She's there. Her kids will have mom coming home. And that's awesome. So anyhow, let's start this. So you guys, Robin! Hey, Robin! Welcome, my dear. And yeah, we've got a subject again for today. Love you, my dear. I was trying to go through, and one of the things that a lot of us have been talking about privately without recognizing we were talking about it a lot of times is the idea of rejection. And as you guys know, there's a couple different YouTube channels I go to for mental health, information, stuff like that. And this was one of the things that was popping up on quite a few of them, was the idea of rejection and what we do with it. Because I don't know about you guys, but Smiley's here. Thanks for subbing. Oh my God, thank you so much. And that's our first switch for those of you guys who don't see. That's a switch one. Switch, Twitch. Oh my gosh. Switch is what I play when I'm playing my Disney and my Zelda and all my other fun games. Yes, yes, I do know what I'm talking about every now and then. Not often, but once in a while. Thank you so much, my dear. Thanks for joining. Also, Smiley. And, oh, you were over at Jamie's and came on over. Even better. We got, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'm going to have to, after, in between the two lives, I'll head back to Jamie's and then Cantina. I'll come back for this. But, yeah, I was looking at the whole idea of rejection. And I know there's also, FYI, I know there's a lot of lives going on right now. A couple people had told me that they probably wouldn't make it because of a couple of other lives. And so for the replay crew, which I know is going to be bigger today, love you guys so much. And so Isabella is here too. Hey, 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 Isabella. Thanks for coming on over, my dear. And hopefully I'll see you guys back over on the other side as soon as I'm done with this one. So, and there is PJ. Welcome, 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 PJ. I'm going to highlight your name if they ever decide to bring it up over on StreamYard so that I can do just that. Hello, PJ. Love you, my dear. And by the way, yeah, please head over PJ's channel. She's really been doing she does the mental health stuff like we do here, and also the missing. And I shared out one of hers last night from a few months ago. One of the things I think a lot of us have been thinking about lately are older cases that we talk about and then we forget about. Okay, because there's so many different people who are missing. And going back to those and revisiting them and remembering these people are still missing and they need to be found. So definitely head over that way and check out some of her cases because she's got some cases that no one else has talked about. So here we go. Rejection. Okay, rejection is something to start off. Sleuth, love you, my dear. I know you are going to be busy. I told them there's some other lives going on. So, but I love you, Sleuth, and thank you for popping in for a few minutes. And good luck on the other live. So, oh great, my dogs are playing with each other, so if it gets out of hand, you know why. But rejection is something that all of us deal with. Okay, I could ask you guys this question right now, ones, twos in chat. One, if you've been rejected in your life. Two, if you've never been rejected. Chances are it's 100% because every one of us has dealt with rejection at one point of our life or another. Okay, it happens. Sometimes it's perceived rejection. There you go. Georgia's got a one in there. And it happens. And sometimes it is, like I just said, sometimes it's a perceived rejection. Sometimes it's true rejection. And it happens on different levels. And a lot of times it's something that we play with in our hearts. And rejection hurts no matter what. Rejection hurts like hell. Exactly, PJ. At one point, we all have. At one point, every single one of us have been rejected for one thing or another. Maybe for real reasons, things that we could actually change about ourselves. Sometimes it's due to something that we perceived and never was there to begin with. Other times it could be something that the other person has to deal with on their own. These things happen. Okay, but it is going to hurt. And part of rejection is realizing the pain is going to be there. Here she goes. Hello, hello. Here she goes and here she comes. Love you, my dear. And it's going to hurt. Okay, it may be hurting in your heart versus hurting in your ego. Now, what do I mean by that? Sometimes rejection is maybe a friend that you adored. Okay, someone, maybe a boyfriend, a girlfriend, okay, a close friend. I've talked before that friends are like being on the bus. Okay, I've said this a couple other times that friends, relationships get on the bus at one stop and sometimes they stay for 2 or 3 stops. Sometimes they stay till the end of the road. They're all got different amounts of times that they're in our lives. And when we lose those friendships, Okay, when we're rejected for one reason or another, it hurts in our heart. Okay, because this is something that means something to us, a friendship, a relationship that we hold precious. Okay, no matter where, friendships are on a spectrum. Okay, from just people that you deal with and you say hi to in a chat or something like that, to the one that you live with day in, day out. Okay, that you may have married. Okay, there's that whole spectrum there. But then there's another type of rejection. And this type of rejection, rather than hurting your heart, hurts your ego. This is the type of person that rejects something about you and you don't give a shit. Okay? You're like, yeah, well, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about you to begin with. And fine. If you're going to be that way, I'm that way. But the reason why it actually hurts in these cases is because we want to be the ones in control of it. Okay? Even if this person is someone we don't care about and they've rejected us, wouldn't it be nice if we were the one to reject them first? So we are going to sit there, and because it's having that control over things. So having that ability when they come to us and they reject us for something, instead of being able to say, well, fine, F it. Who cares? I don't care about you to begin with. And just moving forward, we kind of get into this whole cycle in our head about how, well, if I had just done this first, okay, because oh my God, this person is just, and we just go on and on and on about things. Honestly, I think that's behind a lot of the drama on YouTube, is because people want to get that, be the first one to dislike the other person. And if not, they're going to go back and forth. And you hear it all the time. You hear it all the time. Okay, well, they said something bad about me, so I'm going to say something bad about them. It's back and forth because their ego was hurt. And you know what? That's not necessary. We all have an ego. Every single one of us have an ego. And every one of us will actually have that ego hurt at some point or another. Okay, but where the drama on YouTube, exactly, PJ. What? Drama on YouTube? You gotta kid me. Okay, oh my gosh, I swear, I remember thinking there's got to be a community without drama. No. Trust me. You get knitting community, art community, you name the community, they got drama. And so it's good for us to realize that rejection, no matter whether it's something that it's a relationship that meant the world to us or a relationship we could give a shit about, it's gonna hurt. There's gonna be this part of us that wants to respond potentially. Okay, because yes, we may have been rejected by someone we like, but on the other hand, we could have been rejected by someone we don't care about. But we care about having the final say. And we will always make sure, oh, if only I can have that final say, then I can let it all go. And rather than just addressing the rejection when it comes and just saying, okay, fine, whatever, you're an asshole. I know you're an asshole. Goodbye. And moving on forward. That's the hard part, though. That's the hard part. That's the part that all of us have issues with. And so rejection itself can happen in many ways. Okay. Just thinking, okay, let's see. Okay. Can any of you guys mention in chat times that you may have been rejected? Okay. Rejection does not always mean, hey, I'm breaking up. Okay. Or I don't ever want to talk to you. Rejection can come in small little areas. Okay, let's see if we get some ideas from chat. And, but for example, one of the ways that I think a lot of times for me rejection pops up with is I am not a planner. Believe it or not, I don't plan a lot. I have a very good friend who plans everything for us. Okay, so if all of a sudden I'm not invited to go to an activity, and a bunch of other friends are, I feel rejected all of a sudden because I'm like, well, why am I not being included? Are they mad at me because of something I did? Things like that. Yes, Georgia Peach, a parent rejecting you when you were young. Exactly. Something happening, maybe choosing one child over another child, maybe not speaking to you or being harder on one child than another child. Okay, rejection. Okay, walking away, the fear of divorce being a form of rejection for the child. Michelle, hey, my dear, we got another. I should probably be highlighting these because I've got both YouTube and Twitch going. So yeah, Michelle, your hubby shutting you out for a time because of the loss of his mother. Exactly. Okay, those are the times that you're wanting to be there for your loved one and they are putting up walls or something. Have you done something wrong to lead to them rejecting you at this time? When in reality, it's probably just the way they are dealing with what's going on. Yeah, sorry, someone wants attention, don't you? And also, could be those things. It could be someone who just does not, no problem, Michelle, love you. Mwah, love you. Maybe someone doesn't respond to a text or a DM. How many times have all of us get caught in this, especially because we're all in DMs all the time or chat groups or stuff like that, and you write a comment into the group and no one responds. And in the back of your head, you hear this little voice saying, yeah, you know what? You just don't fit in with this crowd. And that's the reason why they're not saying anything to you. When in reality, whoever, maybe that person that you see that saw the message in the DM didn't actually see it. Their phone was just sitting out and it showed that it was seen. And also these are things that start going on. You come into a chat room maybe. And I was joking with someone else about this actually a couple days ago. And you come into a chat room and you say, hi, everyone, how you doing? And no one says hi to you. And you're like, oh, shit, what's going on here? Did I do something wrong? Are people talking about me behind my back? All of these things start getting going in our heads, all because of this fear of rejection going on. So all these, hey, Wyoming adventures. And it happens. How many times have we also on the other side of it seen someone who comes in and says hi, and you don't say hi to them or something, or you don't answer a question, and then a couple minutes later they get upset. Well, I said hi and no one said hi, and we're like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Yes, PJ, exactly. It happens all the time to these things. Exactly, Wyoming. Yep. These are the things that we deal with, but our mind plays these games with us because we are always so worried about rejection. And yeah, rejection hurts. We don't want to feel the pain of rejection. But we also have a way where we tend to look for rejection. And this was something, as I started looking at it, I started realizing, yeah, this is a thing. Rejection and the self-fulfilling prophecy. Crystala's here. Hey, girl. Love you, my dear. And you've been busy, girl. And so what do I mean by the self-fulfilling prophecy around rejection? This one was interesting because it's so freaking true as I read into it. Let's say you are walking into a chat and no one says hi to you, or people don't reply to your DM or your group chat or things like that. And you start getting worried and you choose, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to say anything about that because you know what? Fine. If they're going to reject me, I don't give a shit. Okay, fine. Hurt me. Say whatever you want to say. Talk about me behind my back. I don't care. So I'm not going to reply because you didn't reply to me. And we get into this thing. So you don't reply to a friend. Had that happen, Princess Megan, there you go. And Michelle, I get so much anxiety not being able to constantly focus on chat. I don't want to hurt anyone by not responding timely. Yes. You know how many times I have sat in a mod chat and I sit with my phone open. Okay, and while I'm working on diamond paintings or talking to mom and all that, and it'll sit open and I will literally not see a half hour worth of messages. And yet it's showing that I've seen every single one of them because stupid me left my phone open with that window open. Yet people would probably, and have in the past, thought, oh my gosh, she saw everything there and she's not respond. No, I just didn't see it. And I've done the same thing. I've actually been like, well, so and so saw that. Why aren't they replying to me about it? Well, yeah, they never saw it. But the self-fulfilling prophecy side is like, well, I'm not going to reply back to them when they say anything. Okay, maybe it's letting them feel what it's like, or maybe, you know what, they're trying to pull back anyhow. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, you see that they may be mad at you, they may not be interested in you, and you're going to make sure that it doesn't get worse or anything, and your emotions don't hurt. So you stop replying, they stop replying, and you go back and forth. And before you know, you have two people who were never fighting with each other at all, not responding to each other because both think the other person is not interested in the friendship anymore. So this fear that you had to begin with, that you were losing that friendship, actually just happened because you got, yes, Crystal, I think we all have that bit of paranoia. Every single one of us, I think, have that at some level. And we react on it in different ways because, again, what did I say? Rejection hurts. Whether it is hurting your heart or your ego, it hurts. So if you can take the control of it and make sure you put up the boundaries and the walls and whatever else you want to call it, so that you are not rejected, but you are the one rejecting, then you're not going to hurt as much. That's what we tell ourselves, at least. Okay, so we get into this, and it's one of the things I think important for us to look at. Because if there's one thing we're going to come out of with this whole discussion, it is the thought that we need to start questioning and not just assuming things. Okay, we do this big time on the internet. Okay, big time on the internet. We still do it pretty heavily in our own private lives too, though. And Michelle is saying, yes, I do what I normally do, even if they don't acknowledge me in a chat, but I get being distracted. Empathy saves, yes. And talking and finding out. We're going to talk a little bit later about looking at what expectations are, because my idea of a friendship might be different than someone else's idea of a friendship. And if I'm putting my definition of what a friendship acts like on my friend who is completely different thought process, I'm never going to see that as the friendship it could be. Let's see. Princess says, have few backstabbing friends. Why don't, who you don't hang out other people or go out anymore? Trust issues. Yes. And I think trust, Princess, you just hit it on the head. I think for a lot of people, rejection and trust go hand in hand. Okay. Many of us who have issues with rejection and stuff have issues with trust. And, again, losing someone and losing that trust, that hurts. It cuts like a knife when someone that you care about betrays your trust. So it's another one of those things. Wyoming says, I've kind of got to the point, some people don't bother me anymore. Don't know if that's good or not. Yeah. And I think that's where it's looking at things and trying to figure out what you want from a friendship. What do you want from relationships? Okay. And that leads into the next idea of, when a person does these things, you really honestly, a lot of us tend to immediately assume we know what's going on. Okay, like I said, I have gone onto a Facebook message group and noticed someone that I had been talking to. Maybe I didn't use their name, but I was talking to them and they didn't respond. But I see their picture there, their little emoji there, so they must have seen it and all that. So I'm immediately jumping to this idea in my head that they are now mad at me because I asked the question or something, rather than recognizing, oh, well, they may have accidentally been in a meeting and hit the button and it showed that they saw it, but they are literally still doing something else. So there's so many different things, and asking those questions. Okay, trying to figure out why. Was it truly them rejecting? Because yes, it could be. It could be someone's like, okay, this person's crossed my boundaries too many times, or maybe this person is too much this way or too much that way, and we'll kind of go through some of those things. But I just, yeah, I just need to separate now. And that could be it. That truly could be it. But it could also just be coincidences that come together. And if we just ask the questions first, we could help protect ourselves in the end from a lot of hurt that we never had to have. So I mentioned a couple minutes ago that a lot of times, especially in friendships, we tend to put a lot of our expectations on others. Okay. We have a picture of what a friendship should look like, right? Maybe that is one of those friendships where you're with each other 24/7, whether it's on the phone or this, or you respond to each other right away, or you go out all the time, or all of us have different ideas of what a true friendship is. But we forget each of us are individuals. Okay. I'm an introvert. Some of my friends are extroverts. My idea of being a friend is going to be completely different based off of just me being an introvert, because I can't be out all the time like an extrovert would be. Okay, I need that privacy time. So understanding what a friend should be makes such a difference. Talking to your friend, getting a good idea that just because a friend has done something that does not seem right to you does not mean they are rejecting you. So really take a look at the friendship. Take real good thought of what is going into that friendship. Okay. And from there you can get a better idea of what's going on. And actually it'll make the friendship better. Okay, because you're recognizing, again, we talk about things like domestication, stuff like that, where all of us are coming into life from a different place. All of us have our own childhoods that are all wildly different. And those childhoods are turning us into different people as we get older. Okay, some of us may speak up and make a comment about other things, while other people may not comment. Okay, oh, that's a subject we never talk about because that's just how I was raised. While someone else might be like, oh, yes, we got to talk about everything in the world. And so, but what happens when the rejection is real? Because that does happen. There are times that rejection is real. Okay, a friendship falls apart. Someone does not invite you to a party. Someone starts up a text group and you're accidentally left out or purposely left out for some reason. And rejection can be real. And that's when we have to look at a lot of different things. So first, a person's choice, okay, to reject something about you has nothing to do most time with you. And that's the frame you've got to come into it with. It does not always say something about who you are. A lot of times we see when we are rejected as a failure on our part. We failed at something, when in reality, sometimes it has nothing to do with failure on our part. It could be something about where that person is at that moment. Maybe they are not at that place anymore where you are. What we got here? Growing up that started those. Yep, here she goes. Exactly. Local friends, PJ, yes. And you got a lot of those. You know what? Having friends, there is also the difference between friends you can kind of connect with also. Michelle said, hey guys, come here. Come here, guys. Michelle said, local Maya, I get that. Some people don't understand introverts being overwhelmed. They think you're angry. Okay, you're honest to a fault. I never want my friends to feel discarded. And that's how I am. I'm very, those of you who are really close to me know I don't talk on the phone. I very seldom, if ever, I could probably count on two hands the number of times I have talked on the phone with people from YouTube. And it's not just YouTube, it's my personal life. I mean, literally, my best friend and I talk maybe once a month on the phone. And it's just the way I am. And each of us are different. Yet I will be the most open person in the world in DMs and talk back and forth and stuff. It is an introvert thing. And yep, Wyoming, you're an introvert also. See, it's just understanding where people come from makes a difference. However, if we have an extrovert in this group, okay, they would probably speak up and say yes. Being an extrovert, their expectations, okay, of other people are different. Come here, Cassie. There you go. And so remembering when rejection does happen, that rejection does not always say something about you. Okay, many times it's talking about the other person. Cassie, come over here, baby girl. Come here. And other people do not define us. If there's one thing each of us would benefit hugely from, it's accepting that other people do not define us. We define ourselves. Our actions define ourselves, not what someone says about us, not what someone texts about us. Okay, yes, people are going to always do that. You're going to always have people who write things or say things about you. And but the person that matters, okay, the person who truly says who you are is you. I was just talking with another member of the channel a few minutes ago about that. Okay, that you know what? Other people will try to say, oh yeah, so Loco is like this, Loco is this way and all that stuff. But you know what? Or Loco did this or Loco did that. However, do they really know? Have they ever spoken to me about it? Do we even have the friendship where they would know what the truth is? And also understanding those things makes a difference. Other people don't define us. We define ourselves. So when we make the decision to accept that label of reject, okay, when we're like, oh yes, I've been rejected and it's because of me doing this, and this, or whatever, okay, we are allowing someone else to have control over us. We're allowing them to tell us who we are. And that's not right. You don't ever give other people control over deciding who you are as a person. You know who you are. Okay, sometimes we hide from ourselves and we've got to kind of open up the curtain and say, okay, girl, come on now. No, you know that's not right. You need to be doing this way instead. And we need to correct ourselves. But we know who we are. And we need to stick to that and not let other people have, okay, I was rejected. I was told that I'm not a good friend or I wasn't invited to that party. That does not state that I'm a failure or I'm not a good friend. That has nothing to do with that. Each of us have an idea of who we are and what we need in our lives. We have to be willing to accept that we know who we are more than anyone else does. We know what we need at that moment in our lives. If we listen to ourselves, we can fake ourselves out. Truthfully, we can truly fake ourselves out and say, oh yeah, no, I don't need to. Okay, you're not invited to a party or something, and then you get mad, and so then you try to correct yourself by saying, yeah, no, I shouldn't have been at that party anyhow, because, you know, I'm kind of a bummer when we go to a party and I don't talk and everyone has to pull me into the party and all these things. But that's you trying to fit into what you think someone else is wanting of you. Okay, rather than just being who you are. Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, I think we can all be the best liars ever when it comes to telling ourselves things we want to hear. And it's true. It is totally true. We, in the end, are going to decide how to label ourselves, not others. If you want to label yourself as a reject, go for it. If that's how you want to be seen, go for it. And but I venture to guess that's not how most of us see ourselves down deep. we see ourselves as so much more than that. Even when we're feeling rejected, there's something else inside us that's creeping up and trying to say, wait, no, why are they? I am a good friend. I am there for my friends. I can listen to them and I can be up front and I can, okay, be that calm but reassuring you can do those types of things. And you're able to be there. You decide how you're going to label yourself, not someone else. And now, that said, does not mean that we can't learn from rejection. Okay, guys, none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. As much as so many of us want to say we're perfect and all that, we are not. Okay, and learning from whatever is happening around you, even if it's something you have no control over, is important. Okay, those moments of rejection might have lessons in it for you. Yes, you may not be blamed for some of the stuff. There may be things you can take blame for. Okay, but you're not going to know unless you take stock. And you can't take stock from an emotional point where you're yelling at yourself and coming down on yourself and things like that. You've got to talk to yourself the same way you would talk to a friend. Okay, and learn from it from there. So, how are some of the ways you can do this? Well, number one, look at the patterns. Okay, if one friend or a couple friends, okay, if you find yourself getting really, really close to having good, close friends, okay, and then all of a sudden, I'm hoping you guys can't hear the dog. The dog's barking like crazy out there. I'm hoping my noise cancellation is working. But once in a while, we are going to lose friends. And all, but maybe you start noticing, yeah, every time I get so close to having a really good friend, things blow up and all of a sudden there's no trust or the person pulls away or things like this. And we start noticing a pattern there. Those are the things we need to look at. Because, for example, like with me, I've told you guys before that because of growing up in the military and all that, I changed schools every 2 years. I was always worried of creating a very close relationship with someone because it never failed. The moment I created a close friendship when I was back in school, we would move to a new place. So I kind of learned over the years, and I realized over the years, I saw this area here. I started noticing a pattern. My friendships would last about a year, and then a year and a half. And then all of a sudden, I noticed I wasn't going out as much with them. I wasn't talking with them as much. And at first, I was always blaming it on the friend. But then I started realizing, wait, that was me. I was pulling back at about that time frame because that's the time frame that I would start losing friends when I was a kid because of moving. So I recognized that pattern and told myself, okay, girl, if you're ever going to get over this, you've got to push yourself through those rough times. When you want to stop going out to a movie with friends and stuff like that, you've got to push yourself to do it. And trust me, there were times that all of a sudden, okay, oh yeah, so-and-so is going to see a movie. And I'd be like, oh, I can stay at home today and da-da-da. And I had all these reasons why I didn't want to go. But I had to push myself because I realized that what I thought was rejection was actually me holding myself back. So look for those patterns. Hey, Jen, welcome. You're working. Hey, thank you, Jen. And I'm happy that you're enjoying it. And sorry, guys, no bark. And so recognizing those things makes such a difference. And so I'm going back and forth between banners are a little harder to do with Twitch, and I've got to come up with another way so I can include Twitch in my chats a little bit more during this. So actually, let me do this real quick because I do know I am forgetting people. Sorry, I'm going to try to get to the chat room somehow. Sorry, gang. I'll do it. You know what? I'll figure all this out during my cantina tonight because I'm going to do a lot of duo streaming tonight and trying to figure it all out. So sorry about Twitch if I'm leaving you guys out. Michelle, thank you for putting messages in there because it does make a big difference for me. Cassie, or not Cassie, Wrigley, come here. So the next is recognizing, as I mentioned, are those dynamics from you or their behaviors you learned? So recognizing that, you can find out some other examples that I was trying to come up with what are some of the examples that you can learn from with rejection? And some of those behaviors that I started putting my finger on were things such as clinginess. Okay, you may find that after 6 months or so, friends tend to separate, or after you tend to do certain things. Okay, so it might be that you're losing friends or you're feeling that sense of rejection, okay, surrounding certain behaviors. And if you can put your finger on that, you can actually move forward. It could be things like clinginess, being like one of those people who has to be with their friend. I literally, my best friend and I really got together back in around 2012 is when they came back. I remember feeling like I had to go to everything he went to. Okay. Anytime there was a movie, anytime there was a party or an after show party or whatever, if I was not invited, I took it as rejection. Because in my mind, I had set up this idea that a friendship was someone that anytime you did something, you did it together. Not realizing sometimes, you know what? That's being clingy. Friends need air. Friends need time to be themselves also. And also over the years, I've learned how to say, oh, wow, they're playing games tonight. That's cool. Okay, they're hanging out with a different group of friends, and there's nothing wrong. Our friendship is just as good as it ever was. And that was hard for me to come to terms with. And so things like that, gossiping, negativity. Negativity is one of those things. If you start finding yourself with people who are kind of pulling away, you might recognize maybe you're a little negative all the time. And people don't mind helping people who are negative, but they get to a point where they kind of pull back themselves. So recognizing that truly can help you grow and learn from that perceived rejection. And recognize, okay, so just recognizing that there is that difference between learning new behaviors and labeling yourself as a reject. Okay, you can always grow from that. So next step is, okay, how do we respond? Okay, something has happened to us and we start feeling that we are a reject. Someone has rejected us, whether that be not sending us a DM on YouTube, whether that be fights going back and forth on YouTube, whether that be a friend who doesn't call us up, whatever it is, a significant other getting mad at us and saying something that makes us feel very rejected. And well, first of all, it's okay to be disappointed when we are rejected, when someone doesn't invite us to a party. Okay, when someone starts up a DM group and forgets to add you, it's okay to be disappointed. It's totally, like I said, rejection does hurt. And whether it's planned rejection or perceived rejection, it hurts. And it's okay to feel bad about it. Now, the thing is, what is wrong and what we've got to watch out for is when that disappointment turns into what I kind of call the unhealthy emotional spiral. Okay. How many of you guys have gone through this emotional spiral? Okay, something happens to you and you look at it and start feeling negative emotions. You get angry, you get sad, you get pissed off, and that thought grows to the next thought, which grows to the next thought. And next thing you know, Oh, I'm no good. Okay, yeah, the reason why I didn't get invited to that party, after party, Christola, there you go, girl. Here she goes. And that's the emotional spiral that we want to prevent ourselves from getting in. It's okay to feel bad when something happens and we feel rejected, but the spiral will inevitably get us to the point where we blame ourselves. Whether we are to be blamed or not, we just self attack. Exactly, Michelle. Exactly, Michelle. We get to the point where everything is our fault. Okay, the reason why I wasn't invited to that after party was because I suck at parties and I'm no fun to have around, when in reality they decided they just wanted cast and crew. Okay, but in my head, oh, but if they cared about me enough, they would have definitely invited me and all that, and they just don't care about me enough, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the negative emotional spiral on YouTube, the tit for tat. Okay, in reality, gang, that's what that's turning into. Everyone is so worried about how other people are going to perceive them and all. Okay, it doesn't matter that most people are looking at what the other person's saying and kind of rolling their eyes like, oh my God, what's going on again? And, but we're into this unhealthy emotional spiral, okay, of, oh my gosh, people aren't gonna, they're gonna start agreeing with this other person, okay, because maybe they're mad at me, or that someone else is talking behind my back or whatever. And we just get going into this and it never stops, because then you've got two different people who are both spiraling at that point, and it just continues on and on and on. So it's important to stop that. Okay, to realize it's not doing you any good, is it? Is the higher blood pressure really helping at this point? Okay, is the anxiety you're going through worth it? No. I don't think any of us really enjoy that unhealthy emotional spiral. I really don't think any of us do. And when they don't get, yes, we get issues. And actually, Wyoming, I'll be honest with you, I've actually fallen into that place with wrenches before. I've been in someone's chat before and I'm like, oh, they got a wrench, but I didn't. Why didn't I get? I've literally done that. I have literally done that. And it's just funny. We all do these things. And oh my gosh, would you guys stop? So some of the things we can do when we're into this place is just take a moment and think it through. Okay. Like I said before, figure out what that slight was, okay, the wrench thing. Okay. Was that slight just truly a completely innocent thing? Or was it real? It could have been a real one. Okay. Maybe that creator is mad at us and thinks something happened, or we did something that we didn't do. And so recognizing those things, but take a moment, calm yourself down. Yeah, exactly, PJ, because it's funny how often so many of us do these things because we equate a wrench with trust. Okay. Christola just kind of has that perfectly. A lot of times people don't realize people don't want wrenches that they have, that they haven't known or trust. Yeah. And a lot of people, and so then we feel the rejection isn't a rejection based off of the wrench. It's a rejection because, oh my gosh, they must not trust us. And when it has nothing to do with that. And, but all of us have our different ways of getting into these things and working them out in our heads and all. Michelle's saying, my connection with my friends has become more important than public wrenching. I will throw away wrenches to keep those. Yep, exactly. And even me, I started off as one of those, I was only going to wrench people because I just wanted a very small group. But you know what? I was talking to someone the other day about it, okay, and true crime, about wrenches as friends versus wrenches as doing work, because some people are just damn good wrenches. Okay, they are amazing. And maybe someone just wants someone, that's what they do. They love to really do that and get involved in posting links and stuff like that. I just remind people to like and subscribe to people's chats anyway. Yeah. See, and that's it. In fact, who is it? Who is it? Margie will joke around about being the pretty wrench. And also, see, that's it. I have so many wrenches. Then you're all responsible for being there and all that. Exactly. And I've actually told people for the mental health live, I've told all my mods, when you come to mental health live, if you don't want to be wrenching, I don't want you modding. I want you focused on yourself. So if you feel it's a subject you need to be focused on yourself during, let me know. I can always take the wrench away and give it back or whatever, so you don't feel the stress that having a wrench leads to, because it does lead to extra stress for people too. So taking that moment, recognizing, okay, where that feeling of rejection is coming from, what that slight was it real or was it perceived? And next, recognize that their priorities are theirs and they don't say it. So going back to the wrench thing, since that's kind of became a hot button topic right there for a second, someone doesn't give you the wrench. Recognizing that doesn't have anything to say negative about you. It's that person's priorities. They may have a thought process behind it. Okay, they may have a thought process where maybe they've limited themselves to, okay, I'm only giving out 4 wrenches. That's all I'm going to do. And these are the responsibilities I have for this person and stuff like that. Another person might be like, oh no, I'm going to give them to everyone in the chat. We've seen all of them. Everyone's priorities are theirs. They're not going to match the same as what our priorities are. So recognize that. Recognize that those priorities are specific to the person, not you. Okay, they say more about where that person is in their life and what they want to do than how they feel about you. Okay, I had here as an example. You're not invited to a party. Okay, let me ask this right now. Okay, how many times have you been invited to, okay, you find out a friend of yours has had a party. Okay, and you're not invited. The first thing in your mind is, oh shit, none of them must like me anymore. Okay, what you don't realize is maybe they forgot about you. Maybe the person who scheduled the party and all doesn't even know you. Okay, and you weren't invited because they didn't even think about you. Okay, maybe they're getting together for another reason. Maybe they're playing games, like me with games and everything. I know my friend meets with a different group to play D&D a lot. And they play at a different level than I do. Has nothing to do with who it's just what they are going to be doing at that time. So sit there and separate the facts of what's going on around the rejection with the story you are creating. Okay, the fact, okay, might be your friend's friend scheduled the party and you don't even know this person. That's the fact behind it. Okay, or maybe it was a guys only party, or maybe it was only for those people who went to school together, or whatever it is. As compared to the story you are creating, that all of them don't want you around. Okay, they don't trust you. You're a downer when you come to the parties, all these other things. Okay, separate those things in your head. Because in the end, we just jump to conclusions. And that's the problem. We don't want to jump to conclusions. We want to stop ourselves from there. Because jumping to conclusions ends up pointing the finger at us every single time. We are going to be harder on ourselves than on that person. Okay, and you know what? No. Don't let others label you and stuff. Crystal, been invited and was too socially awkward or worried to even show up. Yep. Offense can be taken quickly, right, Michelle, when no intention to hurt you was made to begin with. Exactly. But we see it and we fill in. Our brains love to fill in the blank. We don't like open areas without understanding and reasons. We want everything solved. So we're going to sit there and we're going to solve it on our own. Okay, and That does not matter whether there's truth behind it. So, as I mentioned also, the differences of ideas and friendships. Okay, what makes a friendship? Each of you have different ideas of what a friendship is. Okay, to you, what makes a friendship? Is it talking on the phone every single day? Is it sending messages to each other? Is it weekly connections with someone just to make sure they're okay? Is it going out, okay, a couple times a week? Okay, so many different ideas of what a friendship could be. We need to understand that everyone's going to have. Wyoming just said never does well in crowds. Okay, so understanding that as a friend might actually be like, okay, yeah, a bunch of us are going to the mall. Yeah, Wyoming may have a rough time over there. So you know what? Rather than putting them in a really rough position of having to say, no, we're just going to go on our own. Okay, where maybe Wyoming's like, you know what, as a friend, can you just ask me that first? So understanding where people are when it comes to friendships, how they see a friendship, what they want from that friendship. Okay, getting that idea. Okay, are they the 24/7 type person who's like, I got to be with my friend 24/7. I want to be talking to them every moment of the day. I want to be going out anytime together. Anytime they go out of the house, I should be with them. Okay, or is it the type of person where, okay, yeah, you know what? I need 2 days a week that has space, that we aren't with each other all the time. Okay, so understanding that, big difference there. The different definitions don't change how we care about each other. And that's the thing. Just because your friend decides to go to that party with other people, does that change how you guys care for each other? When you guys do go out with each other, do you still enjoy each other just as much? Do you have just as much fun during that time? It's recognizing at that time that the value of enjoyment and the times that you are together. Thanks, Wyoming. I love Friday nights. I'm enjoying this. It's always fun to just get together and hang out with everyone. So yeah. So recognizing that enjoyment is what matters when you're together. Okay, in those types of situations. If you are being, okay, ignored, you think, on DMs and everything, okay, or someone hasn't sent you a text message in like a week or something like that, does it mean they're mad at you, or does it mean that they've just happened to have been busy that week? Okay, when they do send you the message back, are you guys back to being like you always are? That's the friendship. That's so what could have been rejection truly wasn't. It's just they were busy. I have some friends that I literally only talk to once every 2 to 3 weeks, because we know what it's like when you've got literally 30 or 40 different people that you're talking to each day. And it gets to be crazy, and you feel like you're not giving the time to each person. And but those friendships are still just as important. So recognizing that, and recognizing that your friend may need something different, and they have a right to expect that. Okay, they may be like, you need to give me more than 5 minutes to respond to a DM. Know that I might be at work and I may not get back to you till the next day. Please don't jump that quickly. I'm not rejecting you if I don't respond within an hour to your message or something like that. So recognizing what those needs are from that friend, so that you can then try to acknowledge those and work with them on that, and they will work with you on yours, because that's what that's all about, is the two of you working with each other. Next, keeping tabs on others and their contact. Okay. This kind of goes, I'm going to skip through this one quickly. It is that whole idea that a lot of us tend to kind of set ourselves up again for failure. It's like, oh, so and so did not respond to that message in a certain time frame, so they must not care for you. Okay, don't let these things test your relationship, because that's a lot of times what happens. Again, we'd rather reject someone else before they reject us. So, how many of you will actually sit there and, oh, so and so has not sent me a message in a week. I bet you they don't care about me anymore. Or I bet you they're kind of pulling away from me now, or things like that. We're kind of testing the relationship. Oh, I'm not going to call my friend and set up a movie night for this week because I want to see if they're going to set it up themselves. We set ourselves up for that rejection rather than just doing it. Okay? Go ahead, set that movie up. Okay, do those things rather than waiting to see if your friend is going to do it. Do it yourself. Because how many of us have gotten mad at a friend who has not gotten in touch with us, and yet we haven't gotten in touch with them either? Okay, I don't know about you, but I've had a couple of those cases when all of a sudden I'm like getting mad at them and I'm like, I can't believe this person hasn't contacted me and so, or all they do is say hi anymore. Okay, I bet you, okay, they're mad at me and all this other stuff. And yet I haven't done any better myself. It goes both ways on those cases. The next thing I wanted to address, I just got a couple more minutes of this, and that's when we, and this is something I know, Crystal, you and I've talked about, a couple of you guys I've had this talk with, because I've actually contacted you guys. I've done this with Amber before. In fact, I've told people I've done this with Amber Phoenix before. If I don't hear from someone in a certain time frame, I start getting all these questions in my mind about ghosting. Michelle saying, Loco, I have ghosted people that I couldn't fight with anymore. Yes, lines in the sand, you know, and that's it. And there are times you are going to reject someone, or they may reject you for those reasons. And it comes down to they had a chance. They could have changed. Okay. And those are the times when we all can learn from these things. And that's why I'm saying you do have to also look at patterns. Okay. If you're noticing certain friends are leaving you or things like that. But this adult talk I'm talking about here is how many of you, put a 1 in chat if you've ever done this. You haven't spoken to someone in a while, or they haven't spoken to you, and you send them a message, or you call them, or you text them, or whatever, saying, are you mad at me right now? I want to make sure you're not mad at me right now. And not sure about you guys. I've done this quite a few times. In fact, I used to never do this. And then I kind of moved towards doing this, and now I'm starting to have second thoughts on this. But I never used to do this. I would just, if someone didn't respond to me or things like that, I just thought they were mad at me and I moved forward. Then I kind of started thinking, you know what? I need to talk with them. I need to find out what's going on and all. So I started calling them up or texting them and saying, are you mad at me? Did I do anything to upset you recently? Okay. Yeah, Crystal, exactly. And yesterday, okay, day before, yeah, we had an Amber Alert, and I was in doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment with mom and everything, and I totally, when I got home, I put my phone on the charger and I forgot it on the charger and totally missed everything. And but we get into these things where we do that. And I remember the first time I actually stood up and said to my friend, Pia, come here, baby. Pia's being noisy. And I went to my friend and I said, are you mad at me? Have I done something? Because we haven't talked much lately. I want to make sure that you're not mad at me. And that was a huge step for me because it's something that I had never done before. I just made assumptions and I decided I'm done making assumptions. I need to find out the truth. And I think that's something really good for us to do, to talk with our friends and find out if there's something going on. Now, though, when I was researching this, I came across a lot of things talking about not doing that. And I was like, what? What do you mean? You don't want to ask your friends if they're mad at you or something? Because I thought that was good. And that's when I came across some more ideas on this. Okay, that adult conversation. And um Wyoming saying, after I haven't responded to them and thought, OMG, they'll be mad at, yes. Hey, Quizzer, how you doing? Well, when someone doesn't speak to me for a while, I'm afraid to ask because I must have effed up. Exactly. And that's how my thought was. I was like, I'm not going to ask them because I messed up. I screwed up. I did something wrong. And I'm not going to say anything. So then I started saying things. And then when I read what I'm getting ready to go through here, I was like, oh, shit. I've been doing this wrong all this time. Why though? Why? Because it feels right to ask people these things. And all of a sudden I'm looking at it, and then I realize what they're saying though is it's more about how you go about doing that. Okay. How you go about talking to your friend, what the thought process is behind it. Because some people, it's like people who say sorry all the time. I believe everyone can change in life. If you give them the chance, they can change. If they want to, they can change. They can get better, things like that. But at the same point, you get to a point where if people keep saying sorry about the same thing over and over and over, and you're not seeing any attempt to change, then it just becomes words, right? That can be what starts happening in some cases with asking, are you mad at me? 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 Oh, we haven't talked in a while. Are you mad at me? You start, if you're asking once or twice, it's one thing. But if you're finding yourself saying things regularly, there's something going on there that you haven't caught on to. And it's probably a lesson for you rather than the other person. If I find myself going to a certain friend, asking them all the time, okay, every week or whatever, are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? There's something in my heart that I'm not comfortable with right now. Okay. I either don't trust myself, or I'm not listening to what's going on in the relationship or something like that, because asking a friend if they're mad at you, okay, should not be something that is having to happen regularly. Okay, it almost in a way can start feeling very needy. Okay, are you mad at me? I don't want you mad at me. Please don't be mad at me right now because yeah, exactly, Crystal. I am, and also, and it's all of a sudden I was trying to figure this whole thing out, and I'm like, but why are they saying not to do that? Because that's what I do now, and it dawned on me. Okay, well maybe what that's telling me is asking once in a while is great. Maybe it's a different way of asking. There are, and I looked into, are there other ways? Okay, and things like that. The approach, okay, as I said, it can become more emotionally charged, because what happens if that person is not mad at you? No, I'm not mad at you. Of course I'm not mad at you. Then a few days there, no, I'm not mad at you. What? No. And it can almost become a defensive thing for the other person, because they're always feeling like they have to stand up and say, no, I'm not mad at you. No, I'm not mad at you, and all that. So coming up with different ways of doing it. What we got here, they could be mad you didn't follow their guidelines. Friendship communication is key. Yeah. Let's see. But Loco, shouldn't a friend I offended tell me I did? Yes. And that, no. And you've got a point there. Okay. Friends should be open with each other. Okay, now the problem is this. Sometimes friends aren't. All of us are in different areas of our life. Some of us have a hard time standing up and telling people, this is how I feel and this is what my expectations are, because we're used to others walking over us, so we just allow it to happen. And that's a lesson those people need to deal with and be able to say, no, this is what I need from you as a friend. So I think that's where it is important to kind of go through. And I think one of the ways this type of question can be approached actually is, let me get there again, is maybe if you haven't heard from a friend in a while, okay, or you're getting that feeling, oh my God, I hope they're not mad at me or something like that. Or maybe you even know, maybe you guys had a huge fight over something, a political discussion. a week ago and you haven't spoken since. And you're like, oh, frick, I should never have had that political discussion. I have a funny feeling now we're mad at each other. Hey, Retro Kitten. Hey, Retro. How you doing, my dear? And so one of the things I was looking for, how else could you approach this question? And one of the thoughts that came out was, I haven't heard from you in a while. I just wanted to call and make sure everything's okay. So now instead of you telling them, are you mad at me? Which immediately for some people, if they're mad, they may put up their walls right away. Okay, if they don't want to hurt you, they may put up their walls immediately and be like, oh my gosh, they're already mad at me, so I'm just going to do this and I'm not, no. And instead, you're leaving this as a casual discussion. You're letting them know, you know what? I recognize we haven't spoken in a while. And you know what? If you're going to go to someone and tell them that you haven't spoken for a while, is everything okay? That shows that you care about the person. You're not going to do that to someone that you don't care about. If you don't care about them, you're not going to go doing that. No way. And so if you do that and you just ask them, is everything okay? It's leaving it on their lap now. They don't have to address the fact, are you mad at me? Which puts them in a really weird position, especially if they don't know how to handle that type of position themselves. But it also gives them the opportunity to say, yeah, I've just had a really, we had that talk last week, and I've just really had a really rough time coming to terms with it. I understand why you believe that, but this is where I come from, and and it gives you guys that ability. They may bring it up. They may just pop up and say, no, I'm fine. And then you have to accept that. But you're accepting it. But now you've opened it up to where you can talk again if there was an issue, because you've now broached it. Which was interesting for me, because I was like, how do I do this? If I can't ask someone if they're mad at me, because I felt so good when I finally started standing up for myself and asking, are you mad at me? I was like, yes, I've taken control of this. I've learned how to stand up for myself. Oh, what? I shouldn't be doing it that way? Well, what do I do instead? So, thanks, Michelle. Thank you, my dear. And guys, actually, Michelle was saying she needed this conversation this week. If any of you guys ever have ideas of subjects, some weeks I kind of stretch trying to find a subject. So if you guys have subjects, please join Discord, check me out on Facebook, whatever, and give me ideas, because I love ideas, by the way. So as we come together and we pull all this together, because we are going to be starting Cantina in 45 minutes, and I like to give myself 45 minutes to pull things together. And I think if there's one thing that we're going to take from this, okay, is don't think everything connects into, rejection. Rejection's going to hurt. Rejection will hurt. It's going to hurt your heart. It may hurt your ego, but it hurts. Okay. Don't fill in the blanks behind the rejection. Try to find out the reasons. Try to take the moment to think things through. Talk to your friend if you need to. Tell them what their expectations are. Okay. Find out their expectations and let them know yours. And thank you, Michelle in Wyoming. And let them know how you feel. Okay, if you don't get invited to a party and it's really hurting you, let your friend know that you would have enjoyed that. Because then you can have that discussion and find out, well, they didn't do this because they need some time away or whatever. Of course, here's a point. Loco, the difference between family and friends. Have close families I haven't spoken to in decades, and it starts to bother you. That's a huge, good point right there. Huge point there. Especially with family, because dynamics with family versus friends can be night and day. I've been very lucky with my family that I've got a very close-knit family, but I know not all families are like that. But I think as we get older, I don't know if this is what's happening with you, but as we get older, we start to have more and more, let me do this a little more. We start to have more and more questions, and having that separation between family and us is hard. Okay, you can't choose your family. They're there. Yeah, exactly. You can't choose your family. Your family is your family. There's no way around it. Now, that said, depending what the issues are, you can decide to, it's like at Christmas time, you can decide we can agree to disagree. I'm going to be around. Hello, hello, Sheila. Welcome. Hello, hello, my dear. And as family, you can make the decision to just agree to disagree. Okay, you know what? Their family. Okay, is it really whatever you're fighting about? Is it worth fighting about? Okay, or can you just agree to disagree? It's like my grandmother. Okay, my faith is very important to me. Okay, not religion, but faith is very important to me. But my grandma was born again, okay, born again Southern Baptist. And there were certain things that I knew, oh my God, I better not mention to her because it would cause World War III in our household. And I made decisions in those cases that, you know what, it really didn't matter. Okay, I can hold on to my beliefs for myself and she can hold on to her beliefs for herself. Now, there's other situations. Wyoming, I haven't talked to my father in over 20 years. He's an alcoholic and I don't put myself on it. And there is the other one. Okay, a lot of times you have to make a decision. If what that person, by you being with them and you deciding to ignore it for the health of a relationship is going to hurt you, okay, it's going to make you start questioning yourself more, have you coming down harder on you. Maybe you're not in a place in your head yet where you can deal with that type of attacks back. Okay, you know what? Sometimes walking away is the best thing. It really, you've got to put yourself first. You truly have to put yourself first. You've got to find a place where you're happy and healthy. And if whatever is happening is causing issues, you're not going to be happy and healthy. And you may find yourself further down the line as you grow, you're able to be around them. And that's when you've got to make the decision. Do you reopen the relationship and attempt a relationship with them again by letting them know how you feel as you move forward? Or do you say, this is where I am and this is where I'm always going to be? And everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to be different. Some of us, our family is our biological family. Others of us, it's a family of the heart. They're the people you choose to be your family. And they're just as good. They're just as good. You have to do what you know in your heart you need to do for yourself. Because if you're going to go back to that family and you're doing that because you need to have them in your life. And you're making the decision to accept them for who they are. Because after all, that's all we can do for anyone is accept them for who they are. If we can't accept them for who they are, then we're going to be forcing them to change. And it's not fair for them to change you or expect you to change. And the same way, it's not fair for us to demand others change. Okay, you hope they change on their own. If they're doing something like alcoholic parents, things like that, you're hoping they finally reach a place in their life where they're able to move and start accepting things back. Let's see here what we got here. I will bring up issues with an open ear, not just talking to prove a point. Yeah. And that's it. And realizing that, you know what, friends, family, all that, just because they don't agree with you does not mean they don't like you. My mom and I fight like cats and dogs about politics. And, but I love her dearly. And I know she loves me, even though we scream at the top of our lungs about it. And, but I'm lucky that I don't have some of the other issues a lot of others do. I grew up knowing my dad hates me until I had kids yourself. And sometimes that's what it takes, having children yourself. Okay. getting married yourself, all these things, just getting older. I'm starting to understand my mom more. Okay, now that I'm getting older, I'm in my 50s now. So I'm starting to understand where my mom was back in, because my mom was, okay, when I was in my 20s, 30s, she was about my age. Okay. So I'm now starting to understand a lot of that more now. And I can let her know when I talk to her, you know what, I can kind of understand this now. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I can understand. And also, Crystal, if you put your foot down, put your foot down. Sometimes they do come to an understanding of what they said or did and regret it. Okay, if you can't, then walk away. And yeah, and you know what? It doesn't mean you have to accept what happened. In cases of abuse and stuff like that, you should not have to accept it. Okay, you can choose how that relationship is going to look for you and where you feel comfortable, whether there is a relationship or not. Some people will never have that relationship. Okay, others will do whatever they have going on. Michelle, like, yeah, I wish I was 32. Put 20 years on top of that. Then you got my age right there, girl. So, but yeah, just, I think that's a lot of it. And as we get close to the holidays next year, we'll do a lot of talking again about families and getting together for the holidays and stuff like that, because it's huge. It's huge. Okay, trying to deal with how you're going to deal with family. I mean, I'm coming up on Mother's Day, hardest holiday of the year for me. I just had a blow up with my mom earlier this week because we're all going to two different parties. I don't like celebrating Mother's Day. I do it for my mom, but it's a hard day for me to get through because it brings up too many thoughts about me not being a mom. But you know what? I'm there to support. I'm there to support and celebrate her and all, but recognizing these things, letting her know my expectations for that day, things like that. So, anyhow, you had a train of thought, but the gremlins took it away. Trust me, I get you, except I get little furry gremlins instead. So, anyhow, I don't know if any of you guys have any takeaways. If you have any takeaways, pop that into the chat real quick. If you're here as part of the replay crew and made it this long, pop in your takeaway for the day into the discussion below. And we will be having Cantina in 38 minutes or so. 38 minutes or so. So I'm going to go grab some food. I'm going to be working on some diamond painting. I actually have Jack Skellington being done today. So I'll be working on those tonight during Cantina. We will be doing that here on YouTube and in Twitch. So hopefully you guys will join us for that. For those of you who are not members of the group, please consider joining our membership. I am almost ready to add a bunch of emojis. And as that, what I'm going to be doing in the next couple days is putting up a post for you guys to tell me what emojis you would like me to add in. Right now, I just got the puppies and some stuff for mental health and missing people. But I need ideas. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to everyone to tell me emojis you guys want me to create. And then for the final, if I get more thoughts than I can actually make, we're going to actually let the members decide what gets chosen. So if you are not a member, please consider becoming a member. We have the Discord for you guys and all that. And again, thanks so much to the Discord for those of you who, Discord, let me pull that up real quick. For those of you on Discord who helped me with updating all the missing people the other day. Oh, you guys are the bomb. No one could have asked for a better group of people. Crystal is so awesome. She's awesome. Thank you so much. I just noticed, by the way, let's see, what do we have? Rejected Mother's Day. She said, if you have to celebrate me on Mother's Day, you fell short. That's true. That is true. I do have to hit the set. Sweet dreams, my dear. Sleep well, my dear. And that's, yeah, she's 28, miscarried, and has never been pregnant until that point. She's scared she won't be a mom. Oh. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. I've had, someday I'll tell you guys my full story, but I tried for over 10 years as a single woman. I tried. And just never happened. Wasn't meant to happen. So it's life. But I'm going to get emotional if I talk about that, and I'm not going to get emotional. So I love each and every one of you guys. I will see you on Cantina. Be thinking about what you guys want to talk about tonight. We will have some fun for sure. I love each and every one of you. Aloha. Goodbye. And I will see you in 35 minutes. Aloha. Mahalo all you guys.